The Marina Bay Street Circuit is set to light up again with Singapore signing a new contract with Formula One. The father of the twin boys who died last week returns to the scene where they were found last Friday. Supermarket shoppers will be charged for each plastic bag used from next year. You're watching The Big Story. I'm Olivia Quay. You can subscribe to the Straits Times channel so you never miss a single episode. It's a done deal. Singapore will be hosting the Formula One Singapore Grand Prix this year, as well as the next 6 years after that. The Singapore Tourism Board and Singapore GP today announcing a contract that will run from 2022 until 2028, with this year's race taking place on October the 2nd. The 7-year deal is the longest renewal between the government and Formula One Group. The previous ones were between 4 and 5 years. The agreement also means that by the time 2028 comes around, the Grand Prix would have been in Singapore for 20 years, ever since the inaugural first ever nighttime race in 2008. The last two were cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Big news indeed, and here to discuss it is Assistant Sports Editor Jonathan Wong. John, the Singapore Grand Prix is happening this year. You've covered previous races pre-pandemic. What did STB say about what the 2022 race would look like for drivers, their teams, officials, as well as local and overseas fans?
Hey, Olivia. They haven't really given much detail in terms of what this year's race will be in October. I mean, given the fact that it's 8 months away, I think it might be a bit premature to talk about testing and how much borders will be open because of the pandemic. But I think in 2019, there were about 270,000 fans that came over the race weekend. I mean, I think realistically, you're not going to see that many fans, but I think you will see a sizable number of fans, and I think they're looking at bringing in overseas fans as well, which would be a great thing, so that it kind of shows that we are opened up. And as well, I think we have there are quite a few VTLs that are already up, and these are with countries that are big F1 following, like Australia, the UK, US, Western Europe. So I think there are routes and options available for overseas fans to come here, as well as the teams themselves.
I see. Well, John, could you help us also underscore the significance of this new contract vis-a-vis Singapore's reopening?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, as we talked about, 7 years, so that's a huge commitment in terms of time by the Singapore side for F1. I mean, if it's 7 years and it costs about 135 million each year, you're talking about almost $1 billion commitment for 7 years. And that goes into so many things, for the different businesses, for the MICE industry, because with 7 years, there is that commitment for them to be able to plan what they would like to work around the race itself. I guess it gives them a sort of a long-term commitment that Singapore is serious about hosting this race and that stuff that comes along with it.
Well, that is definitely great news for industries like the MICE industry, as you said. Well, the race didn't happen for the last 2 years. It may not happen this year. So, John, is hosting a Grand Prix, particularly before the pandemic is over, still economically viable for Singapore?
I think you have to look at it in the sense that it's a very strong message that the Singapore government is putting out, that we are ready to open, we are back in business, and it's important that I think with something like this, because we know that it brings in a lot of tourists. I mean, over the years, it's brought in hundreds and hundreds of thousands of overseas tourists, and that's what we kind of need for sectors that have been battered by the COVID, sort of like F&B, retail, hospitality. So they will look at this and feel like, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that this is something that they can look forward to, not just for the F1 race, obviously, but because, as international travel opens up, I think this is sort of like a signal that, Singapore is ready to welcome international tourists. And I think tourism accounted for about $20 billion in 2019. So this is a sizable amount of money that we're talking about.
Well, thanks so much, John. Fingers crossed that we do see an F1 race in Singapore this year. Jonathan Wong there, the Straits Times' assistant sports editor. The father of the 11-year-old twin sons found dead in a canal last Friday has returned to the scene with police officers accompanying him. Xavier Yap was seen arriving at Greenridge Crescent in Upper Bukit Timah at about 3:10 p.m. with several police officers. He was wearing a red shirt and was handcuffed. On Monday, he had been charged with the murder of one of the boys, Ethan Yap. The police prosecutor had asked for him to be remanded for a week with permission to be taken out for investigations, including scene visits. In other news, supermarket shoppers will have to pay between 5 and 10 cents for a disposable carrier bag starting from the first half of next year. But the charge will not apply for online purchases. The guidelines announced by the National Environment Agency are part of governmental recommendations to cut waste generated in Singapore. At a media briefing today, Mr. Koh Boon Wan, chairman of SPH Media Trust, which the Straits Times is part of, says it has spent the past months building up its talent pool and technology capabilities, and it will continue to focus on and invest in these two areas as the non-profit entity pursues quality, credible journalism.
We all know digital transformation requires huge investments, and techies are not cheap. Because everybody is going digitalizing. So the market has shifted upwards. And if you don't match the market, how are you going to attract the talent? Yeah. So those are investments, big, long payback period.
Firstly, setting up the Media Academy is a huge investment in many millions, but more importantly, investing the time and resources to implement those programs. The point is about using this to also not just skill up our people, but help develop the whole media industry, the whole ecosystem that we have in Singapore, but also around us. Bring in journalists from around the region for some of these programs, and then form relationships and partnerships with them. Obviously, we'll have to invest quite aggressively in our technology, ramp it up so that we can really have best-in-class products, good user experience, and also the technology that we use to get the job done. So make sure that content can flow seamlessly across platforms so we can do our jobs more productively, get the content out to people in a timely, effective way.
A new CEO for SPH Media Trust has been chosen and will be revealed within the next 2 weeks. This person will replace Mr. Patrick Daniel, who's interim CEO currently, having come out of retirement to take on the position.
I started the process quite early, almost as soon as I was asked to take on this job. Yes, we have completed the search, and we will be making an announcement within the next week or two. So stay tuned.
We've got food, music, and a new movie in this week's Live Picks to help you get ready for Chinese New Year. Now, whether you call it turnip cake, radish cake, or carrot cake, the Chinese believe it's an auspicious dish that symbolizes good fortune. Well, STFood Online editor Hedy Khoo is here, and she's taken this traditional favorite and given it her own spin. Hi, Hedy. Tell us all about this special twist that you've done.
Yes, because it's the year of the tiger and we're supposed to ring it in with a lot of, festivities. So I thought I'll take this hawker classic and turn it, lux it up with the use of tiger prawns. it's quite a easy dish to do. Traditionally, I think some people, they like to do it from scratch, making the carrot cake. If you're going to make it from scratch, you've got to shred the radish, steam it, wait for it to cool, wait for it to set before you can fry it. So I decided to skip all of that and get straight to the point by using store-bought carrot cake. No shame in using shortcuts, especially during the holidays, because what you really want to do is to eat and not spend too much time in the kitchen and get maximum enjoyment out of it. So, and also it's convenient. It comes in a big sausage-like roll. So it's very easy to do. Most of the other ingredients, you'll have it in your kitchen if you cook often, or you can get them in standby for the coming holidays. So it's just preserved radish. If you have shallot oil, that's an added bonus because that adds a lot of flavor to the dish. And basically you just need garlic, and the seasoning is really easy, like sesame oil, pepper, salt, that's about it. And fish sauce if you have. If not, you can just use soy sauce. But of course, if you have fish sauce, that goes very well, especially if you're using tiger prawns for the dish. Then you get all the seafoody flavors. And to do this, you also need eggs. So it's very easy. You just fry up the garlic with the shallot oil, fry up the carrot cake, you cut it into cubes, and then you pan fry it slowly to get it really crispy and cook through. Then you add the eggs, and then mix it up with some fried the chaipo, the preserved radish. Add in some crispy chili if you like it a little bit spicy. Then you cook the prawns at the end separately. Then you just put it on top of the dish, and basically you've got is a simple but impressive dish to serve up. And there's a little bit of a hawker taste there, but a luxed up version, to celebrate the New Year with.
STFood Online editor Hedy Khoo. Hey, if you're looking for a few laughs over the Chinese New Year period, why not check out Jack Neo's new movie, Our Girls Go Army, that opens on February the 1st. Let's find out what our film correspondent John Lui makes of it. John, I mean, not exactly a cinematic masterpiece, right?
No, it's far from that, Olivia. I said in my review that this makes as much sense as spreading jam on the outside of the bread. It's as funny as a positive COVID test. It's the really bad product placements from sponsors is really offensive to the audience. But one thing I never did say is that I never called it lazy because it takes effort to be this terrible. This is a movie where effort is made to make fun of women being women. So you have an overweight woman, she's made fun of. You have a woman who's a princess, she's pampered, she's made fun of. So now one thing you can say is that, oh John, you're very Channel 5, you're very kantang. This movie is not for you. That part I can understand. But what I don't understand is, why is there a need to make fun of people who are already made fun of in society? Why do you as a movie have to make fun of overweight women? Why do you have to make fun of women with mental health issues? Why? There's so many other targets, right, that you can make fun of in your kertai, in your crazy flamboyant style. You can make fun of the fish merchants who are doubling their prices because of Chinese New Year, right? You can make fun of landlords who squeeze hawkers, right? You can make fun of people who want to be friends with you so they can sell you health supplements or insurance policies, right? The world there's no shortage of people you can make fun of in this world, but this movie doesn't make fun of them. It creates these crazy fantasy imaginary people to make fun of. So my question is, if you dislike women so much, why did you have to make an entire movie about them? That's my question.
Fantastic question, John. I don't think I can answer that, but I do appreciate your honest opinions. That was the film correspondent John Lui. How about some new music to get your weekend off to a good start? Correspondent Benson Ang has been listening to some new music from a South Korean girl group, Fromis 9. So Benson, tell us about their new songs.
Sure. So Promise 9 is a South Korean girl group with 9 members, and they debuted in 2018. And they're known for their very bright, colorful outfits and eye-catching dance moves. They just released their 4th EP, Midnight Guess, which has 5 tracks. And I like that this new work continues to show their fun and frothy side. So the music video you see being played is of the 2nd track called DM. And this is a straightforward love song that is quite typical of the music that they put out. But what is striking is that there is a lot of multi-layered storytelling going on. So you see that one member is looking through a journal, another member is getting dressed, another one is riding a bicycle, and then suddenly they are dancing at this intersection. So the video cleverly links the sequences together using flowers as a motif. So you see that there are flowers in a bouquet, flowers in the pattern on the blanket, and even the intersection that they are dancing at has a road called Flower Road, which sounds like flower. So I think this is a very interesting presentation that is quite creative and you should check out. Apart from that, there are 2 other tracks which I think are quite interesting. The opening number is called Escape Room, and it has a very seductive R&B bass line. The 3rd track, Love is Around, it's very soothing and it's great for listening late in the night. So on the whole, I give this work 3 stars out of 5 because I felt that the lyrics of some songs could have been more poetic and that the theme of the EP could have been more coherent. But overall, I like the individual melodies and they are really fun and a great way to end the week.
Thanks so much, Vincent. Correspondent Vincent Ang. We have more live picks for you, including a new exhibition marking the 80th anniversary of the fall of Singapore. It opens on Saturday at the National Museum. Details are online at str.sg/life. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by hitting the red button below. I'm Olivia Quay. See you tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.